Hello YouTube, cheers. Cheers to you. If you got a coffee in hand. I learned something really cool I want to share with you. Two really cool things. This Raw Thoughts is aimed towards businessmen, women, entrepreneurs, people who are salespeople, anyone who's into marketing, advertising, any sort of business in that nature. This is called prospect theory, if you've ever heard of it. So it's a bit of economics. Let me just... What it does is... Alright, if you see my nice and beautiful drawn graph, I hope this shows up. If you just imagine a standard X and Y axis, on the X axis going from left to right, you have objective gain, objective utility, objective value. That would be like if I gave you $1, $5, $10, $100, $1,000, you're going to the right. If I started taking away $100, $1,000, $10,000, you're going to the left. And then the top, going on the y-axis from top to bottom, if you can imagine it, is subjective gain. So it's not how much you were literally getting, it's how much you feel you were getting, the perception, what it means to you. So what prospect theory says is this relationship is, my nice S, is an S. Okay, it starts down here, it shoots up towards the middle, and then it goes in what plateaus towards the top. It's an S shape. What prospect theory says essentially is that we are emotional creatures. We're not logical. If we were purely logical, there would be a straight line going across here. The equation would be y equals x, right? For every objective, let's say dollar, for every dollar we get, we're receiving 1 unit of satisfaction, etc. But it doesn't work like that. Okay, so maybe that's obvious. Alright, yeah, that makes sense, right? People talk about diminishing returns. If I gave you, if you had $100 in your bank account, and I gave you, you have $100 in your bank account and you get an email from one of those princes in Africa that need your help. But this is a rare prince in Africa. He's not asking you for money, he's giving you money. And it's real. So he gets your Venmo, and the prince in Africa Venmos you $100,000. You had $100 in your bank. You now have $100,000 in your bank. You just gained $100,000. You're going to be somewhere right here towards the top of this S. $100,000, but your perception is through the roof of what you just gained. Now let's say you have $10 million in your bank. $10 million. And the African prince, the reverse African prince, comes around and he gives you $500,000. You're probably now already over here. You have 10 million and somebody gives you 500,000, you're at $10,500,000. And although that gain is about quintuple what you got originally, that original gain from 100 to 100,000 feels more significant than the gain from 10 million to 10.5, which is what prospect theory aims for. Well, here's the twist. So that might seem obvious. That's just basic utility diminishing returns. Okay. The twist in prospect theory says when we look at the positive side, so if we put our hand on the left side and we're just looking at the positives, our consumer decision-making behaviors tend to fall on the risk-adverse side when we're dealing with the positives. The typical example is if I gave you two options. Option A, I will give you $100. Option B, I'll give you a coin, you can flip it. If it's heads, you get $200. If it's tails, you get nothing. The majority of people in studies have proven to choose the $100 option. I don't care about 200, just give me that 100. right? You're still falling somewhere along the lines close to the origin. There's a lot of perceived utility. Wow, I just got $100 for doing nothing. That's a lot better than getting $200 on a coin flip, which mathematically, if they're not even, they're just about even probability. What prospect theory states is we are risk adverse in the positives, but in the negatives, we are risk inclined, risk willing, risk prone, whatever verbiage you use. So take that example and flip it. What if I said I give you two options? Option A, I take $100 from you. Option B, I give you a coin and you flip the coin. If it's heads, I take $200. If it's tails, you don't lose a cent. Most people in this case choose the coin flip. They would rather lose $200 to risk not losing anything as opposed to a steady $100. When the table's reversed, and again mathematically this is the same, nothing's changed. When the tables are reversed, we tend to choose to be risk adverse. I'll take the $100, but when it comes to losses, we don't want to lose. That's what it comes down to, and that's what prospect theory talks about, which is really, really fun stuff. You should look into it. I'll try to put a no. I won't try to. I will put a link in the description for you to study more. Very interesting, especially for marketers, advertisers, businessmen, salespeople, to understand that people are more willing to not lose than they are to gain. That's a bigger motivator. So how does that take a toll? Where does that play in? There was a case done where they gave people like a custom laptop on the internet, and it would be the equivalent of, like, if you've been on like Nike.com, build your own shoe, or Build-A-Bear. Imagine like a Build-A-Bear. So it's a Build-A-Bear for your laptop. You get to choose all the specs, the memory, the storage. You get to choose the graphics card, the size of the screen, all that good stuff. For the first group, the first population that they studied, they gave them a laptop set up with everything unlocked, all of the custom options added, everything. For whatever price extra, it doesn't matter. Oh, we're going to give you the best memory, we're going to give you the best storage, we're going to give you the best graphics card. And all these extra bells and whistles. You know, get a little Hello Kitty sticker on your laptop for $500. And their task was to take off the things they didn't like. And then the things they do like, okay, keep on. On the flip side, the other population was given a laptop that was bare bones with nothing on it. And they had to build up what they wanted to add. And what the study showed was more people, when they were given the option with everything on it, they weren't as likely to take it away, as opposed to when the people had nothing there. They only added a couple of things or a few things. They didn't feel the need to get to that level that these other people already started with. That is called the endowment effect, which means that when we possess something, we don't want to give it up. There's more perceived value when we possess things. It's the equivalent of like fantasy football. You ever like try doing a trade in fantasy football and you just can't get this guy or this girl to give up Julio Jones? They just won't trade him. Why? Oh, because I drafted him 6 overall. I can't trade Julio Jones. And you're offering the farm. You're offering everybody. Any simple economist would look at this and say that's a more than fair trade. You should give up Julio, but they won't, because there's a perceived value, the endowment effect, that you don't want to give up something that you already possess, which is why companies use mail-in rebates, not mail-in rebates, money-back guarantees, saying, oh, buy the Dyson vacuum cleaner. If it doesn't work, you can ship it back to us. We'll give you your money. Money-back guarantee. Well, you know why companies are willing to do that? Because most people don't give it back. Once you own it, there's a perceived sense of value that's greater than the actual cost. endowment effect. We'll talk about it a little bit tomorrow. I want to get into that a little bit more, and then a couple of other things that I'm learning about. But I wanted to share that with you. I think that's so cool. The prospect theory, and we really are risk adverse when it comes to gains, but the losses hurt. I remember my friend Charlie's dad, George, the wise George Rippis, once told me when it comes to stock markets, but it applies to life. He said that you'll remember your losses more than your gains. It stays in your mind more. It hurts more to lose something than it does to gain something, and that's exactly what prospect theory is. So this is really cool. Tomorrow we'll talk more about the endowment effect because it's brilliant. This is brilliant stuff. And how do we use this as salespeople? It's really about framing. We'll get into that tomorrow. It's about how you frame your product, so that way the customer is avoiding a loss rather than rather than taking the extra step for the gain. If that makes sense. That should make sense. I hope it makes sense. Let's talk about it. Comment. Economists, business friends, entrepreneurs, marketers. You could be selling watches at Macy's, and it's still important. It's still important. Knowing how to position yourself to play up in accordance to prospect theory. So, DiPaolo Jr. Purpose, persistence, and practice, guys. Practice is what we, the Smüth, do. The community of us, the Smüth, the community, our little group. That's what we do to get better at our skills, because we acknowledge that skills are a bridge. Skills are a bridge. They open the door for communication and opportunity. You are loved, you are respected, and you are appreciated. I'll say that again. You are loved, you are respected, and you are appreciated. And because I saw an article going on Facebook today about talking to your plants helps them grow. I need to look into that. I'm not sure if that's true. But boy, would that be funny if talking to your plants helps them grow. So we are plants, I guess, in some form. I don't know. I don't want to make that argument. I don't wish to claim that. You are loved, you are respected, you are appreciated. Thank you for your time. Seriously, thank you for your time, because it is valuable. Comment below, you will get a shout out in tomorrow's video. Special shout out today to Mommy. I love you. I love you, Mommy. Te quiero mucho. You are a bright spot in my life. I appreciate all that you do for me and the ways you help me. And maybe one day we could shave Ringo's legs so he could look like a sheep. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow.